A frightening event signals the rapture, part 2. Imagine this scene. A beautiful blue and sunny day with just a few clouds or no clouds at all. A day as any other, a work day as any other, or even a holiday. People going to work, others in their cars in some traffic jam. Others walking on a sidewalk or doing some housework in their homes, eating breakfast or lunch. Some working at office, in a garage, in a supermarket, a shopping center. Others waking up after a night's sleep. Others shopping, jogging, or doing exercise or walking their dogs. Others waiting for a bus on a bus stop, a train station, a subway, in an airport, boarding a plane, children going to school or in a classroom, tourists visiting a museum, preachers preaching in churches, someone getting married, wedding parties, people doing their daily routines, and TV news stations broadcasting the usual daily news. And then the rapture. Some people have disappeared. At that same moment, car accidents occur. The sound of smashing and crunching metal is heard. People screaming in fear, others in pain or in shock. Up above the skies, planes falling down to the ground or smashing into buildings. Subways and trains not stopping at their stops to then crash into stations, causing injuries and deaths. People coming out of their cars, running out of stores, shops, buildings, train stations, and subways, and buses, out of their homes, from schools, churches, airports, all running and screaming in fear. Some shouting and screaming and in panic, calling out names and saying things hardly understandable about having lost friends and loved ones that disappeared in front of their eyes. Mothers in shock because their babies having disappeared in their carriage, or their children disappeared while holding their hands and not understanding where they went and who and what took them away and what is happening. Everyone has a story to tell, and it's always the same story of someone having disappeared in front of their eyes, a friend, a relative, or even a complete stranger, walking its dog, leaving their confused dog seeking its master. People seen disappear on the streets, or serving a customer in a store, or in a Burger King, or in an office, or behind a desk, having disappeared in front of their eyes. Strange stories that by the passing of the hour become more stranger. A nurse having disappeared while giving an injection to a patient. Or the patient that was about to receive an injection disappeared with the nurse in shock, holding a syringe in her hand. A disappeared doctor while visiting a patient at home, or in a hospital, or while operating someone, or the patient while undergoing surgery and under anesthesia disappear in front of the surgeons operating him. The church pastor that disappeared while doing a preaching in a church, or he running and screaming out of the church about people that had disappeared while he was doing a preaching. Strange stories of someone sitting next to someone in a car, in a bus, train, subway, or on a plane about to departure, or on arrival that disappeared. People in any place, or doing whatever thing, and just disappeared. Babies in a nursery all disappeared, and all children under the age of 6 also have disappeared, but also many teens, adults, and elderly had disappeared. Stories of all sorts and too incredible to believe, but that by the passing hour are believed. Because everybody or witnessed the disappearing of people or ended up in some accident because of someone having disappeared behind the steering wheel of whatever it was driving, whether it was a car, bus, or train. Car accidents everywhere, but also bus accidents, train accidents, subway accidents, plane accidents, because of pilots that had disappeared, causing their plane to crash, or planes crashing and colliding with other planes because radar technicians and other airport personnel had disappeared, or planes making emergency landings because some people have disappeared in the plane, causing alarm and panic among passengers. Someone's car smashing into someone else's car because its driver disappeared, causing the death and injuries of those in that car. Bus drivers, taxi drivers, train and subway drivers having disappeared, and because of having disappeared, whatever they were driving crashed into something, causing deaths and injuries. Smoke coming out of houses because someone left some food over a fire and disappeared while cooking a meal, and now the house is on fire. Buildings on fire because of something having crashed into them, or because of someone that left something on when disappeared that caused the fire. Everywhere, in every neighborhood, in every village, every town, city and nation is a chaos of burning buildings, people screaming in shock, injuries, bodies laying dead everywhere, torn apart, disfigured and dismembered, and blood splattered everywhere. Burning craters, twisted metal. For those that survived, lives are shattered by traumas for the loss of someone or that someone vanished. Whatever is happening, it's happening everywhere, all across the country, in every city, and in every nation, all across the world. Within minutes, news reports are coming out from every means of communication. The first reports are of some mysterious loud crashing sound heard in the skies, of something like a trumpet-like sound, and then some global cataclysm immediately following that is causing deaths all across the globe by every means of death known, and people dying for the most strangest reasons, and whatever it is unknown. But then, almost immediately after the first reports of this mysterious cataclysm that has people laying dead everywhere, and those not dead are or injured or in shock, other reports come in, at first so unbelievable that even the reporters themselves find too unbelievable to report, because even stranger, that the mysterious deaths and injuries happening everywhere by unknown reasons. But then more of these other stories are being heard. Stories of people having vanished into thin air, and their vanishing the main cause of all these accidents and disasters. Everywhere and in every nation, the same news: accidents, deaths, injuries, screamings, people in shock, burning buildings, and stories of vanishings. Where is my baby? My wife? Has someone seen my wife? My husband? Where is my husband? My children? Where are my children? My father? Where is my father? Some having lost their mother, brother, sister, aunt, uncle, nephew, niece, grandpa, grandma, friends, colleague, their boss, and whatever. People that had vanished, lots of people vanished, multitudes that have vanished. Too many vanishings to believe that these stories of vanishings are invented by confused minds in shock because of all the deaths and dead bodies laying everywhere and unrecognizable. Far too many vanishings to think that maybe these vanished people are none other than dead people so disfigured that their friends and loved ones do not recognize them. News of this mysterious event broadcasted on every news channel, reporting and interviewing people everywhere of what they witnessed, and the stories are all the same. And then, not within hours after the event, something else is being reported. People in tears and crying of some biblical thing that happened, something about some rapture thing. Oh my God, it was the rapture, and I was left behind. Other people, Lord, Lord, you forgot to rapture me. Come back, come back. Other people, oh my God, the 7-year tribulation has begun. Someone else, the beast, he's coming. Someone else, please, Lord, spare me the mark of the beast. I don't want to die, to be beheaded, to be damned. From the moment that the rapture came, and with all the disasters happening, people using their cell phone, iPhone, smartphones, calling everyone, calling the police, calling ambulances, calling friends, their families, their boss, calling for every reason, calling to make sure that everyone is okay or that they are being taken to a hospital, or even just to talk to someone so to keep themselves calm and to calm who they called, to keep calm so not to panic, others instead in panic, because for some mysterious reason who they are calling is not answering. In all that time, the sky has darkened because of all the smoke rising from burning houses, buildings, cars, and explosions being heard all around. On television, the only thing being transmitted from every TV station is the story, and it's on every channel, live coverage from all over the world, every nation on high alert, and no one having a logical explanation of what happened. But only theories, even the most bizarre, from that of a global terrorist attack, unknown superweapons, conspiracy theories, or even that of an alien invasion from outer space in progress. No one appears to have a logical explanation. Presidents, prime ministers, dictators, kings, every government, all trying their best to keep their peoples calm. In some nations, there were more accidents, deaths, injuries, and vanishings. In other nations, there were less, but nevertheless, something unexplainable happened, and everyone wants an answer, and quick. The world's top scientists at work to find the cause, and if not, at least some convincing story that will keep people calm so not to have widespread panic, so that life returns to normal. But on television and all across the internet, this story about the rapture becomes more and more reported. In the days and weeks following, life has not at all returned to normal, because an even greater disaster is present and worsening day by day. So many people dead and vanished, so many professionals, doctors, nurses, technicians, engineers, working forces that make up the foundations of economic power. The loss of so many people, dead, crippled, and vanished. An economic recession beyond the imaginable and never experienced before that collapses America's economy, but also most of the Western Christian world, reducing it into poverty, misery, and hunger, mostly because many professionals, people have vanished. In the United States alone, half of its population, dead or vanished. Is this the rapture of the church? Is this the rapture that was preached to you? What I just pictured is not the Bible rapture, but the rapture from rapture movies, most of the literature, preachings, talk shows, and in the mind of most of the church, and from who profits from this rubbish and false preachings, whether it be for money or to have a following. It is the rapture preached by who does not understand the rapture. Why the rapture? What's before the rapture, not just what's immediately before the rapture, which is the topic of this study, but mostly what happened to the world years and months before the rapture. The rapture that I will reveal to you is something almost completely different from that picture I described. The only thing that the Bible rapture has in common with that picture I described is, yes, accidents and disasters will happen, but by far much more worse and in greater numbers that will cause a much more number of deaths. And that they are not caused by the vanishings of people that do not disappear, but that the accidents and disasters come by actions made from those not raptured. The picture that the Bible reveals of the rapture is much more worse than that picture I described. The Bible rapture is so terrifying to imagine that you would pray not to have it in your lifetime. In part 3, I will give a picture of what the Bible rapture is from my studies. The picture is disturbing.